Hey, Robert, great to have you on the show. I think you're going to be a very unique guest for us. Will you please give the audience a little bit of information on your background and what you're doing now?
Sure. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you having me on. So, Christian, husband, father, entrepreneur, business builder. I met my wife when we were 14 years old, got married when we were around 17 years old, had our first kid. Quickly had to realize, how to take care of a family, and went from just me to three of us, right? So I got into construction, started at the bottom, worked my way up, created our own construction service company that ended up being, it's one of the largest in California. Then after a few years, one of my hobbies and one of my passions was always software. So after we got the company up and running, basically I was able to create a software company and started creating software and applications for companies like the United States Post Office. And then blockchain started becoming, I wouldn't say prevalent, but people started talking about Bitcoin. I heard about it from a guy named Max Kaiser in around 2011. So right around then, I started really diving deep into Bitcoin and blockchain. And then around 2017, through that time span, a lot of my friends and family, they also started becoming very interested in Bitcoin because of the gains that they were missing out on. Everybody talking about how much money they could make and things like that. So I did a couple of videos for them at their request, and basically just kind of took off. These videos were just instructional, just basically a warning and telling them that they could lose all their money. But if they're going to get into cryptocurrency, here's what you need to know. So I did some of those videos, and it kind of took off. And we've done, 500, 600 different videos now, interviewing people, always free. It's always just educational. And so we did that. And through that process, we quickly realized that there was a need for creating something that allowed people to keep their cryptocurrency safe. So we created Monarch Wallet for individuals that allows them to be the monarch of their own money. And then we created Monarch Pay for merchants. So we did that. And basically, we've just been trying to educate as many people as we can in crypto, offer value while build up other businesses and other companies throughout the whole time. And, God's been great to us, and we get to do this with our friends and our family. And it's just been a pretty wild and awesome journey. So thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, glad to have you on. And I think it was funny when you joined me before we started the recording to see that this is the first time I've ever done a podcast in my t-shirt. And I was just like, Captain America, got to keep it on. And then you're in your Marvel chair. And so it's like, we both got the memo.
Yeah, that's our quarantine attire. Yeah. So are you sheltering in place in your Captain America shirt?
Yeah, somewhat. Fortunately up here in Roseville, all the trails are open. The parks are formally closed, but Roseville says, get out on the trails, just social distance. But I'm kind of sick of the whole thing. But before we dive there, and I'd really be interested in your opinion there, for those of us, and this includes me to be candid, I know some of the terms, blockchain, Bitcoin, the rest of it, but can you kind of give us an overview on how this whole system works and why there's a need for it?
Certainly. So a very mysterious person, people, organization, named Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. It was around Halloween of 2008, where he released his white paper. Around January 4th, 2009, he released Bitcoin for the world. And essentially what it is a decentralized method of exchanging value. Think of it as digital money. Think of it as not needing a central bank. Think of it as not needing a bank. You are a bank. You can send currency anywhere in the world to anyone that you want at any time. It's the first time we've ever had something like this that was decentralized, that works. And what I mean by decentralized is if you look at typical, establishments or banks, they're typically like a honeypot of information. They have like one server, and all the data, all the software is within the walls of that bank or whatever that institution is. And if a hacker or somebody gets into that, as we've seen with all these different software hacks and data breaches, they typically leak the information out there. They put it for sale. It usually hurts the individuals. Sometimes they're not even aware of it until somebody's stolen their identity. So what Bitcoin does is it takes essentially thousands of different computers, strangers, just people like yourself, me, your neighbors, people in Africa, people in Venezuela, whatever, that all have their own computers that are all running the same software. And all the software talks to all these other different computers, and they're always making sure that they're using the same information and the same data, and it's always being recorded in the same method across all these different devices. So that way, if somebody wants to hack it, well, they would have to hack thousands of computers simultaneously at the same time to try to take down the Bitcoin blockchain. So Bitcoin allows for the ability to send and receive funds. It's immutable, meaning people can't mess with the records. Like if, I don't know, let's just say you have a bank and they want to go back and cook the books. They can. With Bitcoin, you can't. It's immutable. You can't change any transactions. Once you send it, it's sent forever. It's transparent. They're on the blockchain among all these computers. They all see the same information. They all have access to the same information. None of it can be changed. It's always transparent. It's got over 99% uptime. And it's basically just, it's not controlled by anybody. It's controlled by the people. And so it's the first time we've ever seen anything like this. Typically, you look at banks, you need their permission to send, money to somebody. You have to go down there, wire funds, or use their software to do things. They can take your money back at any given time if they want. They can lock you out of your accounts. With Bitcoin, they can't do this. It's your money. It's actually peer-to-peer digital money. So it's the world's first, and it's pretty incredible. And from there, we've had 5, 10, 15,000 other cryptocurrencies that have tried to mimic the same type of software of sorts, making little changes, little tweaks, adding different value propositions. And Bitcoin has like maybe cheaper fees or faster transaction times or more anonymity or privacy to it, things like that have been added to these Bitcoin, or sorry, to these blockchains that have been created. And we've seen all these different corporations and governments. They've all embraced blockchain. They all have their own type of cryptocurrency, or they'll be releasing their own type of cryptocurrency. So it really is an incredible time. It's very similar to like the beginning of email, when people, or I guess maybe even the internet. We'll just talk about the internet, because when the internet first came out, people were talking about how it's just for nefarious criminals, it's just for porn, it's for bad people. But now, like as you see, we're using the internet to conduct this interview, which is pretty incredible. And can you imagine not having the internet for everything that you need in your daily lives? And that's where we're headed with blockchain.
So let me ask you a question. So you just said all nations have this cryptocurrency. Does the United States have a cryptocurrency, the government?
So if you look at the CARES Act, if you look at the language in there, it actually refers to a digital currency. If you look at reports that have been put out by the Federal Reserve, they talk about a Fed coin. All this is most likely going to be using some form of blockchain. We don't know which kind yet. We don't know, what protocols they'll be using, things like that. But you can already see that that they're mentioning it. They're talking about it. And not all nations have it, but a lot of really big nations have been talking about it or implementing it. You look at China. You look at Alibaba. You look at Alipay. You look at Tencent, all these different companies that are related to, they're within the walls of China. They're all talking about their own cryptocurrency. And basically, if you've been to Asia, you'll notice how everything is done on their phones. So when they go to a grocery store, they go to the gas station, when they're doing whatever, they're using their phone to pay for things. So with crypto, that's the same thing. You'll be using your phone to essentially send currency. You'll be using it for all your social media, tipping people, sending funds, access to your data. So many things are going to come out of this. And it's very early, but you can see the writings on the wall. You can see all the patents that are owned by everybody from Amazon to IBM to, all these huge banks like Bank of America. I mean, just look, it's incredible how many huge corporations own blockchain patents and how they're all finding ways to implement this into their business. Even like HSBC Bank, they ran $250 billion through their own blockchain, I think last year alone. So it's going to be incredible what comes out of all this.
So how does the value get established? I know in U.S. currency originally, well, maybe not originally, but at some point we had a gold standard to go against. That got removed, and now it's kind of funny money. It's whatever they say it's worth, and they print as much as they want, so to speak. So where do you define the value and what's behind it with the Bitcoin?
Yeah, so like you said, in '71, that's kind of when our dollar went to, I guess, the petrodollar. So it is kind of funny money. It's only worth whatever I guess the people believe that it is because the government tells us, it's worth something because they got, the aircraft carriers and the tanks and all that kind of stuff, right? So we've all established that the U.S. dollar is the global reserve currency. With Bitcoin, it's very different. It's the people that say that it's worth something. It's what people are willing to pay for it. There's ways that it can be manipulated for sure. It's a small market, so people with big Wall Street money can come in and push the price up or push the price down. But it's more of a supply and demand thing. It's more of a belief that it's worth something and people find value in it. And so we've seen it go from far under a penny to over $20,000. And right now I think we're sitting around $7,000. And people say that it's going to be worth millions of dollars because unlike the US dollar that they can print as many as they want, as you're seeing the administration do right now, with Bitcoin, there's only 21 million. So it's very scarce. That means that there's not enough for everybody to go around as far as a full Bitcoin. Bitcoin are broke into what are called Satoshis. So think of Satoshis as pennies and Bitcoin as dollars. So there is enough Satoshis to go around. There's 100 million Satoshis per Bitcoin. So there's enough Satoshis for everybody in the world to own Satoshis, but not enough Bitcoin. So it's scarce. So you already know that there's going to be a lack of supply. So people that are, I would say, that are speculators that think it's going to be worth more, they base, I guess, their data on that there's not enough to go around, and people find it valuable and people want it. So it's very different from the dollar where they just keep adding decimal points or moving decimal points or adding zeros, and they just call it quantitative easing. But we all know it's just inflation, and it just erodes the people's wealth.
And please understand, I don't have an opinion one way or another. I mean, I haven't gotten involved in it, but I'm intrigued by it because it, in some ways, it relates to how people, pursue gold to protect themselves. Or there was, what was it, the tulip craze, decades ago in Amsterdam or whatever. But this has some unique attributes to it with the limited supply and demand. So who establishes that limited amount and it cannot change?
Yeah, so that was hard coded into the blockchain in the very beginning. You set parameters the software operates on, and so that was one of the parameters that there won't ever be more than 21 million Bitcoin. So that was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. Bitcoin is also open source, meaning anybody can read the code, and people can actually alter or improve the code if the core developers, this group of people, voted in. So say, for instance, they want to make Bitcoin faster. They want to increase the block sizes, how many transactions can be put into each block before a new block is created. Just say that, for instance, they wanted to do that. They could take a vote and they could increase the block size, but nobody's going to say they want more than 21 million and try to establish something like that, because that was hard written in. You would have to have the whole community agree to it. That'd be very, very difficult to do. So I don't want to, dive too deep into Bitcoin, but it was hard coded in the very beginning. Everybody's just taking it for gospel. It should never change, and so there should always only be 21 million Bitcoin ever.
So what do you think people should be doing? Let's talk about businesses. So we're in this, pandemic, COVID crisis thing where, if we think of the U.S. and speak in general terms, the response was slow. Everybody messed up on the political side, whether it's Republican, Democrat, whatever. I mean, it just, at least to my knowledge, I never saw a plan from anyone that worked. And now they went into this total horizontal style lockdown. And at least here in Roseville, we're now, I think, at about 5 weeks that we've been locked down, or in the 5th week. I mean, it's been a long time, and we've got two and a half more weeks to go. And what's your thought on what businesses should be doing as far as for their business and in regards to cash reserves or accessing some type of financial tool moving forward?
Yeah, so there's a lot to that. The first thing I would say that they should do, or should have already done, is apply for the Paycheck Protection Program. The CARES Act. That that's money out there for small businesses, big businesses, to keep their employees employed, to help with utilities. They're looking at tax cuts, things like that. That's the first thing that they should dedicate resources to, because today, I believe the money ran out, the $350 billion, it officially ran out. And so we're waiting for Pelosi and her goons to turn on the faucet again, to pump in another $250 billion for small businesses. In the meantime, they're trying to just, fill it with fat and pork and all these different, things that politicians on both sides do. It's not just Democrats. It seems like whenever there's a bill that comes out, they've already agreed to it, they've already funded it, but now it needs more money. Rather than just simply funding it, they want to add a bunch more pork to the bill and basically make sure that their buddies get paid. So it's unfortunate. I don't want to go too far down the political rabbit hole.
Yeah, don't get me started either. It's okay. Yeah. I'm with you.
It's pretty disgusting. But the first thing that they definitely need to do is, sign up for the CARES Act, the PPP, make sure that they're doing that. It's a very simple process. That's what they should be doing. Then they need to look at their business and they need to see whether there's any fat. And I don't mean employees per se, but maybe they're going in different directions and maybe they need to focus. Instead of a shotgun approach, they need to have more of a sniper's approach. And maybe they're going in too many different directions and it's costing too much money. Maybe they have different departments that are costing them money, that are losing money, that right now it would make more sense just to close up, because you don't know how long this government shutdown type scenario that we're living in is going to last. We don't know how long before it's back to business as usual. So we need to make sure that, that there's money in the bank, so to speak, that they have enough operating capital to operate. And then to come out of this and, be successful. There's also all kinds of different investment opportunities. We see companies that we know are going to be here at the end of whatever you want to call this. And they're at a huge discount. So I don't know about you, but I've been, buying a lot of different things that I think I'm getting fire sales on, and hopefully I'm correct. And at the end of all this, maybe in a year or two, they'll be worth, back to where they are now or even higher. So businesses can do the same thing as investors. If there's, screaming deals, maybe they've got a lot of cash. Maybe they're flush. Maybe this is a time to go purchase some struggling businesses. Maybe this is a time to, invest in different areas. Well, like the old adage goes, be greedy when people are fearful, right? So right now is the perfect time. There's so many people that are scared and terrified and they need money, and, you're helping them and you're helping yourself possibly over the long run. So there's different things that people should be looking at, but those are some of the fundamentals, I think.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I've got a lot of my clients are IT managed service providers. And a lot of those guys are okay. They're losing some clients because,
can't get in.
It's cutting back. But other ones, like you may have someone who's serving strictly a dental vertical and they're shut down.
Yeah.
So if they didn't manage their cash, they might be a good, asset purchase to pick them up, because the dental market's going to come back. It's just a question of when and how you time that. The other thing I'm seeing with my clients is I've got 4 clients that are hiring now. And they, a few of them have picked up some real superstars.
Yep.
Where they couldn't touch them before, but their company just did a mass layoff, whether of a work group or whatever, and they got some super talent to join their team. So it was an opportunity.
No, that's a great point as well, especially, with people getting laid off. I know a lot of companies up in the Sacramento area that have laid off half their workforce that are talented programmers, IT guys. And if your business isn't struggling and you've got, or maybe you're a little cash flush, maybe it's a great time to go pick up some of that talent. And you've seen companies like Amazon, they're hiring like crazy right now. There's, grocers and the distribution chain for food. There's so many things out there that are just booming. You look at like Walmart stock, and I think it's actually up. There's so many, not so many, but there's lots of companies that are actually, they're worth more now than they were before this pandemic.
Yeah. So I'm curious to go back to your talk about the Bitcoin just one more time. So if I'm a businessman or woman and I've got my entity, how does that play into my business? Where are the opportunities there, if any, that I should be considering that? Or is that just on a personal level, as far as my personal finances, I should be having some activity in that area?
Well, I'll speak specifically to 2 points, because there's actually like limitless possibilities using blockchain technology if you want Basically something that's immutable and transparent, and you want to store your data in multiple different places. There's lots of use cases like that, but let's just stick to money because that's what most people focus on. So if you have a credit card, say you're a merchant and you accept credit cards or PayPal, we all know what can happen. They can do what's called chargebacks. They have high fees. They can claw back your funds. So if you're a merchant and say, I just bought a shirt from you and I paid you $10, I got the shirt, then I called my credit card company and said, that wasn't me, or I didn't like the shirt, whatever. I get to keep the shirt and the $10 and the merchant's out the money. That's impossible with things like Monarch Pay. That's one of the companies that I created. It's not a traditional company in the way that you would think of like a PayPal. It's decentralized in the fashion of Bitcoin. So Monarch never controls your money. All right. So we have no access to your funds. It's completely decentralized. And a merchant could use Monarch Pay for things like payments. So you could be accepting stable coins or stable tokens in lieu of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is volatile. And as a merchant, you have to set budgets. And so if Bitcoin's up 15% today, that's great for the merchant. But if it's down 50% today, that's horrible for the merchant if they make payroll and they're counting on that money. So we use stable coins, which are basically pegged at $1. So the merchant can use Monarch Pay and they can accept stable coins and stable tokens for all these different transactions. They never have to worry about their account being closed. They never have to worry about clawback of funds. They never have to worry about chargebacks, and they don't have to worry about paying more than 1% fees. So that's one example right there of how businesses can use it. And then people, they can download the Monarch wallet, and basically they're a walking, talking bank anywhere in the world that they go. It's right on their phone. It's free. They can send and receive cryptocurrencies. They can buy and sell cryptocurrencies. They can swap cryptocurrencies for other cryptocurrencies. They can check out their market cap, like what everything's worth. They can create a portfolio within the wallet itself, so that way they know how much they have of each things and how much it's worth and all that kind of stuff. They can keep up on the news. So those are two examples right there of how it can help, the people as well as the merchants. And it allows for instantaneous send. So like within 4 seconds, you can send money anywhere in the world, and you don't have to worry about it being, high fees attached to it, or a bank stopping it, or somebody clawing back the funds. It works both sides, for merchant and for the user. So it's incredible, and it all works today.
So talk to me a little bit more about on the business side, because this is very intriguing, because I get really irritated with the credit card fees. And we don't have a lot of our business. I mean, we do leadership stuff and we do talent assessments, and we have services that we do by credit card as far as, developing leaders or providing consulting. And so if I used Monarch Pay, posted that on our website, does the potential client or existing client, when they go on, are they seeing US dollars that they're purchasing and I've got Monarch Pay in the background that's kind of processing everything? Or do they have to have something that ties into Monarch Pay to make it work?
So it uses cryptocurrency. So this isn't something that replaces PayPal or replaces the credit cards. It's something that you would, offer as an additional form of payment. So people that are already using cryptocurrency, this is very desirable for them. For people that want to get into cryptocurrency, through Monarch Pay, they could actually exchange US dollars for digital dollars and then start transacting that way. It also allows for reoccurring payments. So as a merchant, recurring payments are very valuable, because say you have a subscription service and it's $9 a month. Once they set up their Monarch Pay account, it takes, 30 seconds to a minute to do. They can cancel anytime that they want. There's no fees. There's no monthly fees, this kind of stuff. It's just a decentralized payment method. Every month, $9 can come out of their account and go to your account. Decentralized, nobody in the middle, less than 1% fee. And back to your original question, it's they would be swapping dollars for digital, stable coins and stable tokens. And then that's how they would transact on the platform. And it's not something that they have to do. It's just something they can do in addition to PayPal or credit card. It gives the users a lot more freedom. It gives the merchant more freedom. And it's really great for both parties.
Well, I like it from the merchant standpoint. If I take that and I put that as an option on our website, is there also an option to enable them to change, convert their their US dollars into the cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And that's easy. So they'd be able to look at it. So have you ever had people that require their customers to do that?
It's optional, right? So a lot of people like to use credit cards. Some people use bank wires, not that many, but this is something that's getting traction. You can see that there's like over 17,000 places that are accepting cryptocurrency that are popping up all over the place. You can see that places like purse.io, it's a gateway to Amazon. So people using cryptocurrency through purse.io can save like 15 to 30% on their Amazon purchases using cryptocurrency. So you can see that it's starting to gain traction even with like Amazon. And Amazon with AWS, their servers, they host a ton of blockchains for all these different cryptocurrency companies. So you're going to see more and more of this. It's something that you can do in addition to what you're normally doing. If you like using your credit card, that's cool. You can actually use your credit card to buy these stable tokens and coins and operate them within Monarch Pay for people that want to start trying this and using it. But it's not like a credit card type system where you use a credit card and it's using dollars to do this. It's using actual stable coins and stable tokens that are pegged at a dollar's value to operate within the system, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And I also like it because it doesn't create debt. Talk to me a little bit more about, you're saying that there's a potential savings of 15 to 30% on Amazon. How does that come about?
So purse.io, it's a website and it's a gateway into Amazon. So if you're just an Amazon shopper, you don't have to be a business owner. You can just be the everyday, mom just, filling up her grocery list or whatever it is. You're basically using the Amazon platform, and then you just pay with something like Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or stable coins, and you save 15 to 30% on your purchase just for utilizing cryptocurrency. It's some kind of deal that Purse and Amazon have. I haven't looked into exactly what, how they're doing it, but I just know that when you go to checkout, you're saving like 15 cents to 30 cents on every dollar. So it's not a bad thing.
With all I buy on Amazon, that would be significant.
Yeah, check it out.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
That's pretty funny.
If people want to learn more from you, engage with you, what are the different options they have to do that?
I'm super easy to find. It's probably easier if they just go to the website, because from the website, it links to all my different socials. So it's just Crypto Beadles. That's Beadles. So cryptobeadles.com. And there it's got links to like our YouTube channel where we bring on, some of the best and brightest in the industry. We answer the viewers' questions. We do live streams and we give away, I wrote a book. And I give away the book there in the live stream for people to learn more about blockchain. We give away a bunch of hats and shirts and cryptocurrency and all kinds of stuff. And we do that usually once a week. It's great to interact with the family, with the audience, and answer their questions. So we do that. And everything's free. So I don't charge for anything. So if you just go to cryptobeadles.com, you'll find links to all the different social media places that we have. And then for people that want to learn more about Monarch, Monarch Pay, Monarch Wallet, it's just monarchpay.com for the merchants and monarchwallet.com for anybody that wants to download the wallet and try it out. And both of them, it doesn't cost people anything to download them and start trying it out.
Well, that's amazing. And if I always get a little bit nervous with everything being free. So with your Monarch stuff, where do you make money on those?
So with Monarch Pay, that would be, we would make a tiny transaction fee, about 0.5% on every transaction. So that's how we would make money there. So we make it on volume. We'd have to have a crap ton of users before it becomes profitable. Then with Monarch Wallet, we have partners that offer the ability to purchase cryptocurrency and to swap cryptocurrency, buy, sell, all that kind of stuff within the wallet. And so we get a small percentage of their fees. So it's kind of like just a shared revenue model. So they charge, a couple percent for the buy and sell of crypto, and maybe we'll get 1 point or something like that on it. So, it's not going to make us rich by any means, but it empowers the people. It allows them to basically be their own monarch, allows them to control their currency, own their own financial freedom. God has blessed us. We've built some of the biggest companies, and in California, I'm not doing this for the money. This is just something we do to give back. We've created platforms for people like the post office, and we're really good at what we do. And this is just kind of something we just did for just to kind of give back. And so, as long as it's sustainable, in a few years, I'm fine with it. But even if we went away, one of the beautiful things about Monarch is it's decentralized. So again, I don't want to dive too deep into how blockchain works, but even if Monarch went out of business, the people always own their funds. Monarch is never touching them, never has control over any of it. So they get what's called a 12-word seed. And basically, when you create a wallet, there's these 12 words, and you keep those safe. And if you find another, like for instance, you don't like Monarch, you just take those 12 words and you go find another decentralized wallet. If they support the same cryptocurrencies, all your money is going to populate on that next wallet that you put those 12 words into. It's a completely revolutionary way of like controlling your funds and having basically being your own Monarch, your own bank. So it is incredible, and they don't ever have to worry about Monarch going out of business. It's not like a bank going out of business because the people always control their funds. They are the Monarch.
Do you ever see the cryptocurrency replacing a national currency like the US dollar?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, that's where we're headed. I mean, if you look, people used to barter with chickens, and then it went to chunks of metal, then to coins and paper currencies, checks, credit cards. Now, think about it. Cryptocurrency is the biggest freedom for the people, or the largest enslaver of the people, because with blockchain, if it's like a nation that creates their own cryptocurrency, their own blockchain, it allows them to be able to monitor how much is out there, to monitor how much each person has in their wallet, to see where that money goes from wallet to wallet. There's a dark side to this too. That's why Bitcoin is looked at as like the light, and then private blockchains for governments, it gives them the ultimate control. And so it's quite the rabbit hole we can dive down, but this is definitely going to be something that you're going to be seeing countries start using. I would say anytime, between this year and maybe 2 years at the latest. I mean, it's already in the CARES Act. So you already know it's coming. The US is going to set precedents for it. You're going to see digital dollars everywhere. You're going to see wallets. I mean, you see Facebook with Libra. It's not a matter of, if, it's just when. Is it this year or next year? And you're going to see everybody using it. They're going to have to.
And if I heard you correctly, if a government such as the US government were using it, they would not be able to take any of your money out, but they would be able to observe all the inflows. So it would basically, as far as that portion of income, separate of bartering or something else, they would be able to track things accurately for tax reasons or whatever.
No, unfortunately. Remember in the beginning when I talked about parameters that you set. So if you have a private blockchain, see, remember, there's centralized, you can have centralized blockchains as well, or you can have decentralized. Now, the United States government is going to use a centralized private blockchain. They're not going to use something that's open for the world to see the transactions. They're going to want total control over it for obvious reasons. And in that control, they will be able to absolutely to shut off your supply to your funds, take your funds. Places like China, they have like this social grading where basically depending on what kind of citizen they deem you to be, they could just claw back your money. They would know exactly how much you have, where it's at, who you spent it with, and they would be able to shut off access to the funds at any time that they wanted to any citizen or to any person using that cryptocurrency, because that would be in the parameters that they set in the very beginning of this blockchain. It would also allow them freedom to create as much of it as they want. So it's the ultimate printing press for them as well. That's why I say it's the greatest freedom for the people, or the largest enslaver. Only time is going to tell which is which, but if you have a greedy nation state or a dictatorship or something like that, this could be horrible for people, because with paper money, you can spend it anywhere, right? I mean, it's not always going to be worth something, but with this digital stuff, it can go a dark way really quick, depending on who's creating it and who's using it and who's forcing their citizens to use it.
So that's kind of the negative side of it, the potential that we need to be aware of. But if I'm hearing you correctly, forgive me, I'm an idealist. Of course, that's why I wear Captain America, always trying to do the right thing. In theory, it also could be structured to be the most ethical and transparent system. And by transparent, I mean the government would have transparency into seeing what levels of currency you had, what your transactions are, that type of thing. But it could be structured, if I'm understanding you correctly, where they could not touch it.
So I understand your hopium.
Yeah, hopium. Yeah, I like that. I'm addicted to hopium.
Yeah. Just name me one time in history where a government has taken really good care of its people and done what's best for the people and is totally accountable to the people. I can't think of a single time. So, hopium would say, you're absolutely right. This could be the best thing that just works incredible for the people. It's the best sound money that's ever been created. It's backed by real assets. It's, it's incredible. Yes, they absolutely could create something like that. We call it Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's biggest flaw is, well, right now, the speed. As soon as people start using it, it slows down a lot. So it needs to be faster for it to be used globally. And then the second problem we have with Bitcoin is the volatility part of it. So there's people in the Bitcoin community that always have this stupid saying that, oh, a Bitcoin is worth a Bitcoin. That's not what you tell, a mom or a merchant of why they have 50% less money today than they did yesterday. Telling them what Bitcoin is worth a Bitcoin is just stupid. So it needs to be stable and not volatile. That's why I like stable coins and stable tokens. In the Bitcoin, after it becomes more widely used, they say that it'll become more stable. And so it will have less volatility. I don't think people can wait for that day. But if you look at what Bitcoin has done, what Bitcoin has created, it's incredible. It's a store of value. It's people that are putting their money there and they're hoping that it's going to be worth more in the future. Well, we've seen if people did that at $20,000 and it's $7,000 now, yeah, it's still a store of value, but it's worth 50% less, right? So it has some flaws. But if you mimic the Bitcoin operating system and you create something similar to that is pegged at, say, $1, backed by real assets, so you know that it's worth $1. Maybe it's a basket of other fiat currencies or gold or silver or precious metals, corporate bonds, whatever. There's all different. It's unlimited what you can do. If they created something like that, it could be incredible for the people. Will they? Well, I think history has a tendency to repeat itself. And I think whatever currency the government gives us is going to be for the benefit of the government, not the people, as we've always seen.
Yeah, longer discussion. I do hope that I've read history correctly, that there have been times where, for a period of time, there has been good intention in the best, whether, similar to when the founding of America, when the founders really battled for trying to find what was right and finding a balance.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't last as long as people have hoped, and hopefully this experiment's not over, but it's not looking as bright as it used to.
Yeah.
All right, you brought on your chief advisor. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, she was just clawing at me, so I better pick her up before she starts barking.
So, Robert, any closing advice for our leaders as we leave this podcast?
Never stop learning. Never, ever think that you know everything. Everybody can learn something new. Education is priceless. It's the difference between surviving and dying. If you look at just from a health perspective, knowing that there's cures to things out there, just doing the research behind it, educating yourself to know that. Other things like financial education, it's so important. And of course, family and God. So trust in God, work your butt off, always treat your family well, and try to learn everything that you possibly can.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to end. Thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate it. And we will make certain all your contact info is in the podcast. Appreciate you spending some time with me today.
Hey, God bless. Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right. Blessings to you.